Welcome to I Am Goddess Collective podcast, a sacred space for empowerment through modern magic, spiritual activism, and reclaiming your power. I am your host, Nixie Marie, feng shui practitioner, earth activist, and mystic, here to support and inspire your journey in becoming the change you wish to see in this world. That change starts within. Join myself and fellow thought leaders, metaphysical experts, and luminaries each week as we explore practical and magical ways to living in your highest alignment. Your journey as an empowered goddess begins here. Let's dive in. Hello, ladies. Welcome to another week of your life. Are you guys ready to kick some butt this week? I know I am. I'm finally feeling like a true human being again after integrating back into reality from traveling. And wow, I don't know if any of you guys have gone like across the country and have been like 15 plus hours ahead of your normal circadian rhythm, but wow, that really wiped me out. And it was very much a very strong urge and pull for me to get anything accomplished. So, wow, I think we talked about cycles the last week, at the beginning of the episode. And I just have to say that was quite perfect for exactly where I was and honoring that I am in a cycle and I'm a cyclical being and I'm definitely not supposed to always be on point. So just want to take a moment to acknowledge that and say that mostly because I'm sure there's so many of you guys listening that resonate with that and need that reminder just as much as I do that we are cyclical beings and we're not supposed to be on all the time and constantly in motion like the ocean. So, all right. So today's podcast, what are we going to dive into? I've got a lovely friend of mine who I was introduced to by another friend of mine, awesome sister. We've got J Lawson on the show today. She is a women's empowerment coach and also just a divine feminine advocate, has a process, like experiential learning workshop called Goddess Process. So obviously she had to come on the show. And we talk all about embracing your femininity and how to really become a divine feminine leader and the power of that in today's world, and how the voice of the feminine is really creating a container for healing and just so much real juicy stuff right now. I feel like there's so much going on in the collective right now that using our voices, and I'm just going to take a deep breath with you guys on this one, but using our voices is truly how we make this difference. I hope you guys realize that, because without us stepping up and using our voice to speak our truth, be authentic, say what we have to say, help heal somebody by just being a gentle, loving, compassionate goddess, that's it. Like, that's what our role is right now. And I think that that's really what we talk about on the show today. And what Amber really presents is essentially just being a container for compassion and how much power is in that. You know, I think that I often think of like Mary Magdalene's energy when I think of compassion, or the Buddha and so many other of the archangel beings that support us on this journey. But Mary Magdalene really just stands out because I often feel her presence so much throughout my life ever since I started working with her. And she teaches us compassion, you know, and I think that's what we teach others when we really invite that into our lives, and we become an example for what that can look like. Because compassion is medicine. It's medicine for the soul. It's medicine for our planet right now. And I know that we're constantly going through so many shifts, and not everything like with Australia. I just want to say that too. You know, there's so much happening on top of what's going on with Australia. Thank goddess there's actually rain that's going on, finally coming forth to put out these fires. But I just want to say, for anybody that's in Australia right now, I love you. we've been doing some prayer rain dances for you, and we're with you. We're in this together. And I'm in, California, Los Angeles. So we've experienced some fires too. So I know I had one in my backyard firsthand, like that fear and that anxiety that can come up, and it's real. And I invite you to really just feel into it, because there's a lot of power that comes from the fire energy. And it's so Kali Ma. Like, if you're going to go study any goddess and feel into what goddess is really inviting that forth, is this Kali Ma energy of really ripping things and transforming and inviting the phoenix to rise. So let this be a wake-up call, for the healing of our planet. Let this be a rise of awakening, so that we, as a sisterhood, as a tribe, as a collective, see what we need to do in the healing, in the inner work, in the awakenings, all the things. That's my prayer. So I'm praying with you guys and with you all. And if you need anything, please reach out. We can band together as a sisterhood and support you in any way, shape, or form. So please DM me or send me an email, nixie@iamgoddesscollective.com, and we can see how we can support you if you are currently being affected by the fires in Australia, and also just anywhere else in the world, you guys. Just know this is a place that we have created a sisterhood, and you are 1000% supported. And if you don't feel that way, reach out, and of course, don't really bombard my DM, please, with messages, but email is preferred. So send me an email, nixie@iamgoddesscollective.com. I will respond much more there. DMs are a little hard, and I think that they can easily kind of get into this mindset of feeling like we have to respond right away, and it can put a lot of anxiety onto those who are receiving a lot. So just wanted to put that out there. But again, we love you. We see you. We hear you. We're with you. And breathe. Always remember to breathe through the process. And we're feeling you too, I'm feeling you. I know the sisters are feeling you. Heightened anxiety, feelings of helplessness. There's a lot of that in the collective. So stay strong. We've got this. Ain't nobody going to take this down. Pachamama, we hear you. We love you. We see you. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card, and we're going to see what this card reading has for us today. I am using the Moon Deck by our lovely sponsors, the Moon Deck. You can get your own deck for 10% off, as well as some other amazing, let me just say, ritual tools. They've launched a full sort of ritual collection, a spell candle, which if you've never really actually done spell candle work, this candle that they have on themoondeck.com actually is cool, because you can put your intention into the candle, which is how you actually do candle magic. And they just also released a whole journal set, which is awesome. I've been using them every single day. So go on over to themoondeck.com/goddess and get 10% off the entire site. Arana, the founder of this company, is also doing a online oracle training. So if you've ever been seeking in, calling in something to do to really enhance your intuition, trust in your guidance system, and really learn from a master who created this awesome deck, she's doing a online training. So check that out. That's also on her site. All right. So let's see what card we have today. Ooh, I have never pulled this card before. Okay. This card is really cool. It's a woman who has the third eye chakra painted on her mind's eye, and then she's got the Sri Yantra with the triple moon symbol on top of the Sri Yantra, behind her amazing flowingly hair. And her message for us today is, with a steady mind, I am connected to our collective experience. I'm going to say that again. With a steady mind, I am connected to our collective experience. With a steady mind, I am connected to our collective experience. This is kind of nuts, because I was just talking about the collective energy that we're all feeling within the fires, and could not be more. I mean, come on, guys. Like every time we pull a card, I feel like it's just so aligned with who we are, what we're talking about, the whole thing. Okay, so diving into this card, she's got her eyes closed, kind of looking up to that third eye. So I think that this is a really big invitation to go within and spend this week going inward and closing your eyes, quieting the mind, and realizing that we're all interconnected. We all are one. We're all part of this massive collective frequency, whether we know, like, try to prove it or not. It's a real thing. I don't know. I've done mushrooms, psychedelics. They tell me that's what's real. I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some shit going on in that universe out there. And it's like, we're all connected, and we just are. Like, there's no way else, shape, form, whatever, to say it. And I'm telling you, this card is so crazy. So I opened up the book because I wanted to see what this interpretation is, because I'm getting a lot of just how we're all this interwoven collective energy, how when we go within, we connect to each other. And that's how we really also support each other's healing, and also really tap into the collective consciousness of our planet and feel into everyone that's experiencing the fires, everyone that is experiencing trauma to some degree, those who are experiencing bliss. Like, it's all real. It's all very connected. And like what this book says is like a pebble tossed into a pond. Our thoughts and actions create a ripple effect throughout the world. Everything from the mundane to the mystical is an opportunity to recognize the fundamental wholeness and interconnectedness of all beings everywhere. So in honor of your own happiness and the imprint left on the collective experience at large, a steady, healthy mind is a powerful tool. In order to co-create the world we want for ourselves and for future generations, we must 1000% elevation, our own thinking, and see the goodness in those around us. The more that we do this, the more we increase love and dissolve fear, which is desperately needed in the world right now. There's a unifying force that runs through us, especially when we heal our hearts and mature our egos. As you commit to this practice as a way of being, you help to awaken the collective consciousness. So together we can actualize a world where peace, love, abundance is accessible to all. Breathe that in. It's exactly what we're saying. I mean, we're all connected. When we do the inner work, we're doing it for others. And I actually want to share an added story to this, because today has been kind of a crazy day for me. I've actually been through a wave of emotions, like those really, really high highs and really, really low lows. That's what I've kind of experienced today. I'm recording this like late at night. So I got some news from my mom, and this was the first initial news I got from my mother was like on my birthday, on my 30th birthday. She called me and she said, I'm going to live and do what you say to do. Like, I'm so inspired by you and what you do, and how you are such a bright, shining light. And I'm going to start listening to your messages, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the leaps. I'm going to take the risk. And I just like put my hand on my heart, and I'm doing that right now, because I realized all the work that I've done on myself. Like, my mom and I used to hate my mom, you guys. Like, there wasn't always a good connection there. So I recognize now all the work, the inner work, the healing that I've done has drastically changed the generation before and after me. My mother, my own mom, is having breakthroughs, awakenings, realizations that I had to go through and say, no more. This ends here. And that's when this card comes full circle back into this conversation, because it's like when we take those moments to focus on our mind, like honestly, fuck exercise right now. Like if you need to get your mind in check, if you need to exercise your mind more than your physical being, like get your mind in check first. The physical aspects will come after. Get your mind, your mindset, your thoughts, all the rest will fall into place. Your heart, get that aligned, get that centered, go within, do the healing, your weight loss, whatever you're trying to do, it'll all fall into place. It's our minds that we've got to focus on right now. It's our minds, because the mind is a slippery slope. That mind will take us, that ego is going to take us down the rabbit hole of wherever we let it if we don't say no more. No, absolutely not. This is how we use our voice. This is how we become a feminine leader. This is how we say no. This is how we turn this ship around. We say, I am leading from my heart. I am focusing on my mind. I'm going to become a Jedi warrior goddess so that this freaking world will be around. I mean, we're at the verge of extinction, I feel like. I mean, we're not there yet. We have a long way to go. But the thing is we cannot say, just like life, we cannot say, oh, I'll start 5 years from now. I'll start next month. I'll start XY. Procrastination builds and builds and builds. The next thing we know, we're going extinct because we didn't take action. We didn't do the inner work. We didn't start doing the stuff that we need to do in our environment to make us feel like we're part of the collective or taking an effort, being the change. This year, 2020, we've got to do the work. And I'm speaking to myself right now too, I'm not always perfect. I'm not always doing it. But I recognize that what I have done up until this point has created a ripple effect, just like this card, into my family, I also had a conversation with my dad today, you guys. Wow, today was a roller coaster. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking of all the things. I had a conversation with my dad today. He gave me philosophical advice telling me, oh, we don't need more, all these things. I'm like, who are you becoming? My dad's going through a bunch of health stuff that is really a big wake-up call for him. I know he's going through his awakening, you guys. It's really interesting to watch. But when we do that, when we just stand in our truth and we do the work and we stay the course, that's what happens. That's what's possible, is for others to see the light. They see it. There's a spark in there. It's a soul interconnectedness. And we become this ripple of frequency that starts to affect everything around us. Expanding out. So just imagine right now, you elevating yourself in this moment that you're listening to this podcast. Imagine your frequency raising the vibes. We're going to raise our vibes so big right now, so expansive, so big. And you're going to just imagine blasting it out to everyone around you. If you're driving, all the cars around you, everyone around you, expanding it out. If you're in your home, just spreading it out into your home, expanding it out. Wherever you are, expanding that out, creating that ripple, touching that heart, opening their hearts. Activations. That's what we're here to do. When you're listening to this, that's what we're here to do. That's why we're here right now. That's why we're all here. It's to open our freaking hearts. Expand it. Okay? Did we just go to church a little bit? I think we did. I got this new really plush sweatshirt and I'm touching myself. So I think we went to work now. I think we went to church. I'm feeling good. Feeling pretty good about that card. Wow, that just took us down a rabbit hole of really good, awesome stuff. So bless this card deck up and bless everyone around you up. We got this. Again, love yourself, do the work. Do the work. It's so worth it. All right, this whole podcast is going to be me talking about blessing this up. Let's get into this. Amber J Lawson in the house today. Here we go. Love you guys. See you on the other side. Hello, Sacred Sisters. Welcome back to another lovely episode of I Am Goddess Collective podcast. I have a sister goddess on the show with us once again, but this one seems extra special because she's also a voice for many other goddesses, and we have a very shared vision with this collective here. So we've got Amber J Lawson on the show today. Hello, Amber.
Hi.
So Amber's actually a dear friend of Mimi, and she's our resident astrologer. So some of you guys that love Mimi, she came through as a referral. So we're super honored to have you here, as well as we actually did some similar leadership training together. So not in the same group, but we're just all connected in so many ways. So a little bit of a background on Amber and why she's here. She is the source goddess of Goddess Process, and she's also an award-winning digital media maven, and she's on a mission to do good at scale and impact a billion lives, hashtag, as the founder and CEO of Good Amplified. And within her process of Goddess Process, which is basically a 30-day inspirational program for powerful women to manifest their heart's desires, Lawson inspires audiences around the world with her interactive talks on connection and vulnerability. Lawson's leadership and vision has resulted in accolades, including the Synopsis Women in Digital Entrepreneur of the Year, Top 50 Women in Digital, PGA Top 25 in Digital, and the NATPE Luminary Award. So I think it's quite obvious as to why she's here with us today, a powerful leader, feminine leader, as we all are, so inspired by so many rising up today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I know. Sister.
Goddess sisters in the house. So Amber, tell me a little bit about, I don't know so much of your background. So tell us and the listeners here, what really inspired you to step into a really powerful role as a female leader today?
I was called into leadership about 20 plus years ago when I left Chicago, and I took another inspirational course called Landmark, where I created possibility. And I came to LA as a performer, as an actor. And what I got out of that program was I started calling myself a producer, and I was a producer. and from there, I started my entrepreneurial journey. I was off to the races, and I kind of got licensed to create. I came from an environment in Raytown, Missouri that, it was kind of one path, and it opened up all the paths.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. Yeah. Did you have like one specific thing that really like opened you up to like, or inspired you to really someone that you looked up to, or just women today? Or was it mostly just like an innate calling when you were doing some of that leadership work?
Well, I have to tell you, I took on leadership. I'll tell you when I took on leadership. I had an aha moment when I was in 8th grade when I saw in the back of the high school yearbook people that had the most accolades. And that was my goal. I took that on. And from that choice, I put myself in being the person that connected everybody. And so who I've been in my life is a connector, is someone who fearlessly steps into relationship, has the tough conversation, and connects groups of people that may not be connected otherwise. And that's, and the second part of it was when I joined the Television Academy, so the Emmys. And I really campaigned probably 10 plus years ago to become part of the interactive media peer group in a television academy. And it kind of was a nebulous thing. And I pushed and I pushed and I pushed and I got in. And what I realized is 90% of the time, it's literally raising your hand and saying, I'll do that has you step into leadership. And then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And so because I chose that, that's where I got to play at the highest level.
Yeah. So basically coming back to that mindset of choice, really. And what I'm hearing you say is just that, being able to choose something and step into it. And that's really powerful. Thanks for sharing. What was your journey really when you stepped into that sense of leadership and using your voice and finding who you are and exactly, what type of topics you really wanted to speak to? Was that an easy journey, or did you find that there were some challenges along the way?
Oh, Lord, no. Not easy. So I found that I thought I needed to play the game. And that meant aligning with things or choosing the easy road as opposed to what in my gut I knew needed to be said in certain boardrooms, in certain meetings or conversations, or even within companies. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I didn't have the skill set yet to speak my truth or even own that voice inside of me, right? It's been a journey to listen to my heart, trust my gut, and then speak it out into whatever the situation is or was, in a way that's neutral, that can be heard so that it's impactful and effective. So that's been a journey. And I would say that's really come into focus over the past 5 years. Now, having done another really powerful leadership training, and understanding how different people hear things differently, and checking in with people, what are you hearing me say? Yeah. Because boy, our filters are our filters. And we don't know what people are actually hearing, what they've interpreted. And 9 times out of 10, it isn't what we were saying. It's whatever their hurt was. It could be whatever they're thinking about their lunch. They're thinking about picking up their kid or whatever it is. Yeah. And totally miss it. And then you have this whole, telephone game that's a hot mess. Totally. I really think that that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned too, and just doing a lot of that leadership work is just really being super clear in my own communication, and I think that women today, we have such an innate ability to just internalize, we just internalize everything rather than, really ask people, are you hearing me? What are you hearing me say? And I think that really comes from, the voice and all that. I'm going to say something pretty controversial right now. It may land for some people as disruptive, but I truly believe women are the consciousness of the planet, and we are the ones that must speak up. We are the ones that contain men from going off and doing silly things like war or what our current state is. It's so combative. It's women that go hey, you know what? I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah. I think you're going to not want to do that. Yeah. And we've kind of, or at least I'll just speak from I grew up in an environment that we didn't do that we didn't speak up. Not that we couldn't, but it just wasn't. And I really think we're the whisperers. Not that we can't use our voice, but we also have this really magical power over men, around men, being with men, and creating a container that supports keeping us as a society, as a culture, as human beings from wrecking our planet.
Yeah.
From ending our species.
Pretty much.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
How about that?
We definitely talk a lot about that. And that's been really this current message that keeps coming up as we, the rise of a lot of the activism and the climate change, like all that stuff is happening. And I think that's where, when women, we do speak up. And this is why I think so many women are so like, we're gathering together and we're ready to use our voices. And ultimately, when we do, I think it comes from that place of compassion and it's from the heart, but from my own experience too, is I didn't always lead that way. I was also very much a tomboy and always wanted to try to keep up with the guys and, be the boys, just be cool basically. Cause I thought that was what powerful meant. So, when you were stepping into that space, you have so much background as in digital media and all that. And that sounds like to me initially a very masculine industry. So, what was that like when you were coming from that perspective and wanting to really use your voice as a woman, but also being surrounded by such a male dominated industry?
So I found, I still to this day tend to be the only woman in the room, or definitely the minority in the room. And I used to allow others to lead. I also think this comes with age. I'm now at an age where I just don't give a rip. And I am going to share what my truth is in a way that forwards the conversation, right? Mm-hmm. That creates a space that everybody can support moving things forward, as opposed to fighting, right? The masculine is penetrating, purposeful, like go in, win.
Yep.
Whereas the feminine is receiving, is flowing through conversations, is creating space so that everybody gets to be heard. Mm-hmm. But really, we are we're water. Water is flowing and beautiful and slow or fast and can be destructive. Like you don't want to mess with that. But men get to be that container. And I think we're at a beautiful time in history where it doesn't have to be angry. There are new awarenesses. Boy, I'll tell you, women have gone before and fought the fight,
right?
Through feminism, through Me Too, really opening up the conversation so that we all can play together.
Yeah, definitely. But like what you just said with the angry part, I can really relate to, because I think that we at some point are taking on those ancestral wounds from that era and from that period where women, and still to this day are angry at men, and that we're having this like disassociate connection with how that's not really serving going forward anymore. And to me, it's just an invitation for women to, actively forgive and to know that, we've all got to heal this collective wound and be able to move forward so that we're not demasculating men in a way in which, they're now like, I don't even know what to do. I don't know how to treat a woman. And in my experience, I think that that's what's happening right now. And like you said earlier, just being able to sway them in an inspiring light that, like, whatever decision they think is right, but it's really coming from their ego. And yet at the same time, like when we have that voice and we step up and we say, hey, I don't know, it allows for them to pause, whether they're going to listen to us or not, because at the end of the day, that's, their choice. But it really creates, it's like creating this new pathway for activism in like a feminist way. Because I always say, like, I'm not fully on board with all of the feminist movement. I feel that there's a new movement being paved for us all, and that's stepping into like the divine masculine and divine feminine rising. So what are your thoughts on that?
I say amen.
Amen.
I say that when you speak about ancestral wounds, 100%, I, from my own experience, healed a lot of judgment, of ideas of what woman was, what it's like to be a woman that isn't mine,
Right.
that weren't my beliefs, frankly, that I was carrying around. And I did a lot of work, a lot of self-work to go, what are my limiting beliefs? What are my actual beliefs about things? And what am I holding on to that just isn't mine? And from there, create my heart's desires, manifest what I want in my life, get clear on the things that are calling me forth. You know, I am not married and I don't have children, and that is a conscious choice on my part, but I've been engaged 3 times. Let me tell you something. That was me trying to fit into what I just assumed it was time to like get married. I mean, I guess that's what you do. And then, you get the ring. Like it's almost like an award. Like you got to go get that ring.
Yeah. And then show off your trophy.
So not interesting. Yeah. Right. That's so not doesn't call to me.
Yeah.
And I find as I talk to other goddesses that, you know, whether they're in a relationship or not, having their own vision of what love looks like, of what true partnership can look like, of being completely open-hearted and realizing that our vulnerability, our wounds are the hot, sexy parts of us, are the things that really bond us as human beings. And boy, I used to like hide that like the day is long, right? I did not want anyone to see my cracks. Now I realize my cracks are what unite us, what brings us together, what creates the collective, because we're all having similar experiences, especially those of us in the lady bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And, you know, just going back, not to say that like getting married or having that ring is wrong for anyone, but it's just an invitation to me to create a new paradigm of a relationship that is not focused on what this box has been put on, you know, whether it be like through Disney movies and we're like chasing after the Prince Charming. But, you know, what I'm really hearing you say is just the ability for women to break through all these old paradigms and healing and create whatever story they want and ultimately live a free, abundant life. And, you know, that is a journey in itself. And I think everyone here listening, to all of our listeners out there, like we're all on that journey together. And when you're talking about collective healing, it's why we're here. And your story, you know, being engaged 3 times, you know, whatever that was, guarantee somebody listening right now has also been engaged multiple times, you know, and it's just how these synchronicities work and why we're all looking at this now. And whereas, you know, years ago, there wasn't podcasts that existed that had these conversations. There was books maybe, but there wasn't like a lot of that. And so now it just feels like we're doing the work. Well, now seems like the perfect opportunity to share with you goddesses our newest sponsor, the Moon Deck. The Moon Deck is a beautiful oracle set that connects you to your intuition and brings self-care rituals into your daily life. Created to foster community and healing, this entire set of 44 cards plus a beautiful guidebook filled with rituals is inspired by the cycles of the moon and the empowerment of women. It shares insights on growth, purpose, practice, and emotional well-being. The Moon Deck can be worked with as an oracle guide, as a daily tool for reflection and meditation, or simply in a tarot-inspired spread. As a goddess listener, you receive 10% off the entire site. So head on over to themoondeck.com/goddess and enter code goddessmoon to receive your discount. Happy rituals and oracle card pulling, sisters. I love you.
I definitely believe there's a raised consciousness, and women are seeking other women to figure it out for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, I'll tell you, being in an entrepreneur and in corporate America, my experience of women was not supportive.
Yeah,
and it's
sure.
so
Competitive,
beautiful.
jealousy.
Yeah, but it's so beautiful now where all women are coming together and supporting each other and giving each other an arm up and sharing information, that there is enough for everyone. We live in an abundant universe. Yes, you get to have it all, and we get to support each other.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it alone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. I really just want to kind of pull that one out again. You know, we don't have to do it all alone. That takes some time. Takes some time to integrate. But when you really start to see the power of your sisterhood and how they come together and how they magnify, you know, your vision, let's just say, or your request for support, whatever it is, that is the beauty, and you'll start to see it when you create that in your life. So for anyone out there listening that maybe doesn't yet have that sense of sisterhood, or they're not really, you know, comfortable yet with asking for that support or receiving it from that end, like what is some guidance you would give them, especially those who are maybe in that corporate America space and kind of feeling that from other women, since you have so much experience in that?
Well, I don't know if you could have set me up any better, but that is pretty much why we created Goddess Process. I mean, it is exactly that. It's a community of women coming together to support each other and creating a supportive foundation where we can ask for support, not help, but support in our journey, and know that whatever we're experiencing, there is most likely somebody else having the same exact or some version of it, right? You are not alone in this journey. And one thing I find is self-care is like a ding, ding, ding. If you know, it's that whole oxygen mask, put your oxygen mask on first. Because listen, if you're passed out or dead on the floor, how can you help anybody?
Yeah.
So you really have to refill your tank, and creating, whether that's a morning ritual or a self-care routine, is the basis. I know so many women going, and to what end?
Right.
They're not going to give you a medal if you're passed out on the side of the road because you did that extra thing, or you dropped off the kid at school, or you went to that extra meeting. So how do we get to take care of ourselves? And the second part of that is the feminine is receiving. I mean, our bodies are made to receive.
Yep.
It's a practice. I mean, it's a practice I practice daily. It happened to me the other day. This guy, who I think is real cute, he texted me, and I was going into Netflix, and he's like, I have some people to introduce you to at Netflix. And I was like, I got it handled. I'm going in and meeting the head of this guy, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what am I doing?
Right.
Again, shutting off the abundance, the flow, just receiving the gifts, particularly that men want to give me on the regular.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope, I got it handled.
Yeah.
So, it's a constant practice. And that's something I really want to drive home that we do in Goddess Process, and just in general, is we're practicing, right? It's not a destination. We don't get there and again get the medal. It's a constant, like, going to the gymnasium of Goddess, going to the gymnasium of vulnerability, or ways of being, or whatever that piece is, or letting go of your ancestral, that's not yours. The things that your beliefs that you potentially are holding on to. It's practice.
Yeah. I love that you said that about, I mean, even with the story of, this man who wants to support you, right? But that mentality of women like, well, I've got it all. Like, even, for example, you're taking all your groceries out and someone offers you that support, or the man, and you just say no. And that is what I'm talking about, and how it demasculates them as well. It's because then they feel like they're not needed. And that right there is so, we have been doing that for many years at this point because we're like, I've got this. I can be, the strong feminine and prove all ourselves to this person who that's all they know. Like that's their role as a masculine. So that is so important, what you just said and how you caught yourself and you shifted, and such a good invitation for everyone listening to do the same thing and know that it's not an overnight journey. This is a process, like you said, goddess process.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so in the, I lost my train of thought. What did you just say before that?
We were talking about the demasculating goddess.
Oh. So here's the thing. Here's an idea to try on. What does it feel when you give? When you bring food to somebody, or you pay the bill, or you support someone, even opening the door for an older person? How does that feel? It feels real good. Now just think when somebody opens the door for you and you're like, no, I got it. You're taking that joy away from them. How dare you take that joy from them? Mm-hmm. And that I have noticed shifts. They're like, oh, I don't want to take your joy away. Yes, please pay the bill. Thank you. Yeah. It's looking at it as a true gift back. Like it is a exchange of energy, 100%. Yeah. So, thank you for bringing up goddess process. And week 1 is self-care. Week 2 is prosperity, which money equals self-worth. Week 3 is relationships, exactly what you're talking about and what we've just discussed in what are your ways of being when you're calling in with anybody. That could be your kids. It could be your coworkers. It could be a lover, whatever that is. What are you committed to in your relationships? And then from there, let them open the door for you. And the last week's community, what you were talking about, like we are a goddess collective. We get to come together and have each other's, our collective experience.
Yeah. So going into goddess process, like you were in this world of media and all that, and then you decided to launch Goddess Process. So what inspired that, and really why did you name it Goddess Process? And tell us like a little bit about what that is.
Sure. So Goddess Process was born out of this leadership program that we all have experienced, mastery and transformational training. I took an all women's course called Grace. And what happened in the middle of Grace for me is my dog of 16 and a half years, Lola J Lawson, passed away. Oh, no. And I was supported by women. Women came over to my house that night. I couldn't do anything, right? I was just like devastated. And it wasn't like I didn't know that was going to happen at some point, but it happened. And I had 3 girlfriends over at my house pouring me a bath, taking care of moving, my dog out in the process. The next morning brought me breakfast. One spent the night with me to make sure I was okay through the night. One drove me to the workshop. And then I got to be held, seen, and heard by women. I got to totally collapse, let go, be vulnerable. And I felt loved. I felt supported. I realized this is tribal, right? This is what women have been doing for generations, is coming together in a red tent or whatever their vehicle was to do what women do, to dance, to cry, to laugh, to celebrate, to share their weird ideas or their not weird ideas, and I just felt that and said, how do I merge the doing, which I know, goal setting, go out, set milestones, get, be supportive, have accountability.
Yes. Go for it.
Do.
Yeah.
With the being, which is what the feminine, the divine feminine is all about. being. I didn't even know what that meant. What do you mean being? You're just going to sit there? What is that?
Yeah.
But so I thought, oh, how can these women who are out, these entrepreneurs, these women building their own businesses, and they're in the masculine, doing. How do we merge this being and still manifesting what we want in our lives? I mean, there's still committed action that gets to happen.
Right.
But really slowing down, listening to ourselves, identifying and clarifying what we're committed to and what we truly want in our heart, not what society wants or what we think culturally we're supposed to have.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you started to embody that work as throughout this process, and creating it, what were some of the things that you noticed in your life that made the biggest difference when you started to apply some of these things?
When I well, I'll tell you. I got a good one for you.
Okay, good.
I want to say Goddess Process 3. I declared my king in my bed in 30 days.
Okay.
And I had a king in my bed in 20 days. I have been dating a guy, and so that's what's so beautiful about the container that is Goddess Process is I could have I was dating him. I wasn't sexually active at the time. I wasn't willing to go there until I was in a committed relationship. And through Goddess Process, I got to hold up a mirror to my face and see what I was truly committed to, what I was calling in, and to take committed action, to leap into exploring what this relationship could actually look like. So I had the vulnerable conversations that I have avoided in the past having with men. And by having those vulnerable conversations, I woke up next to a king.
Wow.
And we had a beautiful, committed relationship.
That's beautiful. And just so powerful. I mean, to me, once you experience and witness that power, you can't go back. There's no turning back, And it's almost, it's addicting and intoxicating, because I myself had I did Grace as well, this workshop, and that was where I saw the power come together and how insane it was to be heard, be felt, and be, honored in such a way where this nurturing feminine element of my life was definitely not there. And so when you witness that, and that's where I think when some of the listeners here, when you are listening to this podcast and you hear somebody speak and it relates to you, and then you feel like, wow, that fucking shit just changed my life because I'm being heard. Because we all share these stories. We're, this spider web of storytelling. And when I heard so much of myself in someone else, it did something inside of me that just felt like, holy shit, I'm not the only one going through this. Or holy shit, how are so many other women going through something so much, maybe even 10 times worse than what I thought was my worst life, And then it really puts things into perspective, holy shit, I need to drop that fucking, I'm just going to do cuss bombs here because it's really powerful. But drop that shit, because it's not actually that big of a deal. We over glamorize a lot of things, I think. And so what I think you're saying is incredibly powerful, to the degree in which, women just coming together as a whole, I believe, just like you said before, is how we're going to heal this planet and turn this ship around. So
my vision is peace on earth in our lifetime. And I believe it starts with women healing themselves and coming together and being the consciousness of the planet.
Yeah.
And so we, this core Goddess Process, we have a self-guided that you can start today. And there's an online support group, right? Like a private Facebook page. And then we have these intensives. And that's where my king came out of. Full on, you have a goddess buddy and you go to town and you stir up all the areas of your life. Like if you want to shift your life in 30 days, like be in a container of other women.
Yeah.
And also like the profound part is when we open up the space to what we truly want and not just do because we miss a lot of the magic, that all of the things that are meant for us show up with ease and flow.
Yeah. That's how they're supposed to be showing up. You know, I mean, I came from a story of just making sure that everything showed up so chaotically. And man, that was tough.
Yeah.
You know,
and what did you do to shift?
Ooh, that's a good question. For me, I just saw that I no longer wanted to live that story anymore. And my first step, I really believe, was, you know, the path of going down a spiritual path, finding myself in my daily rituals. And, you know, just to sum it all up, to be honest with you, was gratitude. Doing my gratitude journal every single day. And that was like my Bible, and just coming to that place of sacredness and sacred time and realizing, you know, all the ways of being that I was showing up that was manifesting this chaos was because I was creating it inside. So that really, I mean, it was a journey of like a year plus, you know, of really doing that work, of looking at why I was creating this reality and why everything kept showing up like not working.
What a huge awareness.
Yeah.
I acknowledge you, goddess.
Because
you are the source. We're the source of everything in our life.
Yeah.
So to just identify that you are the source of the chaos in your life and shifting that, like doing the work so that's no longer how you operate. Thank you. Thank you for doing the work.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank all of you out there listening. We're all doing it, you know, and let that just inspire you on reminding. I mean, for me, it's just all about the inner creates the outer. And you guys know I repeat that over and over again because it's like I want you to understand that. Even I need to hear it again. So, you know, what you're doing is so incredible to just bring that women together. And I think that's where, like, I love having these conversations. I love being able to connect with other sisters who are committed to this vision that isn't just mine, you know, it's yours. And we've had this vision from these breakdowns and from these realizations that women get to be heard, period. You know, whether or not it's like a emotional just outburst of things that don't make sense because we're like, you know, just super emotional that day or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. It's that we're being heard and felt. And so what are some of your favorite rituals that you do on a daily basis?
I sleep every night with binaural beats.
Oh, yeah.
I wake up every morning.
Do you keep your headphones on when you're listening?
No, I just let them go. I try to pick ones that don't have to have headphones on them.
Yeah.
And I just go on the YouTubes.
Yep.
And pull up whatever vibe I'm into at the moment, like whatever downloads for me. I journal every morning, usually after a shower, because I get in theta state and shower, and I just like up, and then I write all that down. I take a goddess soak at least 3 times a week.
Yes.
Where I use lavender salt. I get in that bathtub for about 20 minutes. I may put on a guided meditation or just some music, maybe light a candle and let whatever show up, you know, just be in meditative state.
Yeah.
I walk my dog every morning. So that always opens up like, what my path is for the day.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm in a mastermind and I like to check in with them and state my intention for the day. Like, what is my way of being that I'm going to be today?
Yeah. I love that. I think that's, if I find myself create my intention for the day by just maybe one word or way of being, like you said, I don't really have to do much else. And that's where I think going back to the ways of being, like being, that's what it means. it's being intentional with whatever you created at the very beginning of your day. Because I have a to-do list that never ends.
I know, right?
So, I mean, I could choose to beat myself up at the end of the day, or I could look back on my intention and go, oh, wait, I showed up with grace. I showed up with compassion. I showed up with love. Then I'm good. And that to me is the feminine way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Manifesting
from the feminine.
Yeah. Well, what's your intention today?
So my intention today is gratitude. I'm grateful for our time together, for finding another goddess who I share vision with, that we get to come together as a collective, that I get to be supported. Receiving was my second today. Yeah. I'm just like open to being in the flow and receiving, and because that's really where I practice. And then the third is peace. I am, and I don't know if anybody else can relate to this. My stand is peace on earth in our lifetime, and anger is where I go. And I am working on my anger to come from peace. Always choose peace. And when I get frustrated that things aren't happening fast enough, or something isn't created the way I thought it would be, that it's all perfect. It's all good.
But I think anger is something that is so misjudged in a strong way. Like, anger can be very healing. It can also be very medicinal in ways where, we're not really basically we're taught to say angry is really bad, and anger is, you should be scared of anger. We should be XYZ when anger shows up. But the way I look at it is like, the earth is our mirror. We live on this Pachamama, where she has all these cycles. And to me, like, we just had tons of fires here in LA. And, well, not tons, thank goodness, but we had a big fire, a few others. Be clear with my words on that one, because I don't want to manifest anymore, nor do I intend to. But to me, that's when she's erupting. She's passionate. She's angry. She's ferocious. And there's a different meaning to it. It comes from that really like Kali energy, where she wants to destroy. So I really think that's what anger means when we choose healthy anger, and we know that it's a moment in time that we can shift. So I just wanted to speak to that, because it just was coming through in the way that, for those listeners that have that same experience and that anger shows up, or maybe even in a partner, to just hold space, invite yourself to know that it's okay in that moment, but it is important to shift. So that's the important part. And what do you do to shift out of your anger?
Well, I reground in my intention. Sometimes I will dance or stand up and jump up and down.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, close all the windows and scream, like just let out the energy so that I can come out on the other side. It really, if I unpack it, it comes from wanting to get there quicker. It's impatience. It's, it's impatience. Like, just want it now.
Yeah, I can relate to that one.
Yeah, and like, okay.
Yeah. Yep. I wonder too if we've always down the road in our lineage, if we had always been that way, or if it's just a result of our now such constant, instant gratification world that we live in. I do think that is a symptom, if you will. But I just wonder, was it always like this? Were we always so focused on everything happening right now? I mean, we get everything instantly. We get Amazon Prime, we get Grubhub, we get Postmates, we get everything that we want and could ever want instantly. However, when it comes to, growth or success in a business, or growth in a relationship, or wanting a relationship, those things are a natural flow, a ebb of life, and I don't think those things, you can't, unless you, I guess, go on, the dating apps and just swipe right, and then, it happens instantly, which can happen. But I don't know. It's just a result of our world now. So here we are.
I'd love to hear what the listeners think of that.
Yeah.
And as it is the new year, what are you manifesting? Like we get a whole year to unfold. Like what gets to show up in your world? What are you manifesting, and how can we support you, goddesses?
Yeah, definitely. So a little bit about, before we wrap up the show, first of all, it's been really fun. This has definitely been a really juicy, awesome podcast, just surrounding the favorite things I love to discuss and learn from. But for this new year, and just going back to that, we talked about intention, setting that up, being in the feminine way, opening your heart and leading from that space. What's some guidance that you have for women who are seeking to go down that path, or even set the intention out this year to really do the work and do the healing? What are some things that you have to say for them?
So I think it's super important to breathe, to slow down, to listen to your heart. And that may be a new practice for some of the goddesses listening. And I'm sure you have meditations and we'll walk you through. In fact, we have a free manifestation guide on goddessprocess.us that has a free meditation to walk you through that process. It really is taking 5 minutes to slow down, to even maybe put on a piece of music that moves your heart, that drops you from your head into your heart, to listen to what is truly calling you forth. And the interesting part of it, when you've removed all the I want $10,000, I want a new house, I want a new car, I want a job, is we're out in the universe, and when we're realizing we're connected to everything and we are one. What is, you are here. The fact you are here is incredible. What it took for you to be a human being at this point in time is outstanding and outrageous, and the odds are crazy. So you're meant to be here, goddess, and you have special talents. You have gifts. And what are those gifts that get to come through, that get to shine, that get to be not only your joy, but get to be your money, that get to provide the prosperity and abundance in your life? Let's merge that.
Yeah.
Let's make your joy, your vocation, and your money all together in Magic Land.
Oh, yes. I love it. Some good guidance for us this year. Well, love, as we wrap up this show today, I have a few more questions before we get to say our farewell. I feel like we can always talk forever and ever and ever and ever, because it's just, when you have a shared vision, it definitely continues to grow. But first of all, for those that maybe are interested in working with you or going through this goddess process this year, especially, this is a new year. It's kind of like, to me, it's like the gym for your soul. It's like getting those new intentions going. What do you want to create this year? Maybe you need guidance from another goddess. We all did. We've all, and continue to need that support. So where can everybody find you, and where can they take a look at this program?
I love that you called it a gym. I say that all the time. Let's work out at the gymnasium of goddess, of vulnerability, of your manifestations, right? So Goddess Process, you can find us at goddessprocess.us, so .us. And there are several versions of Goddess Process. One is self-guided. You can jump right in. It's 20 lessons over 4 weeks. There's guided meditations every day, and visualizations and worksheets, prompts for you to journal, exercises for you to go out into the world. And like I said, there's this private Facebook group that will support you in your journey. The second is the intensive. So that's a 30-day, you show up every morning at 8:30, and we've had goddesses do it from everywhere in the world: Israel, France, New York City, Pacoima,
wow.
everywhere. And really, that's a hands-on, get in it, get dirty. And then the last is a mastermind. So if you want 3 months to like dig in and get support to, no joke, create something in your life, that's what we can support you in. But if you go to goddessprocess.us, there's a button that there's a free webinar. So it will walk you through the manifestation process. And so that's even a great way to start your journey and to lay a foundation for your next step.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I definitely we'll also include all that in the show notes. So for those of you guys that want to check it out. And my last and final question for you, my dear, what does it mean to you to embody a goddess?
To embody goddess is owning my divine feminine, receiving, being in the flow, convening with other goddesses, and supporting each other in our individual and collective visions.
I love that. Yay. Well, thank you again so much for coming on and chatting with us. I know that this episode will be loved and adorned by everyone here, especially because you guys have to go check it out. She has amazing like pink and blonde hair, which just like lights my soul. So thank you so much, loves. I am honored as always to be here. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you. Thank you, Goddess, for creating this space.
Yes. I know. I always want to say like, yes, queen, like really loud, yes, but I can't like scream it into the mic. So, all right, sisters. Well, thanks so much for tuning into I Am Goddess Collective. I love you. I see you. I hear you. Bye for now. Until next time.